Rick Ness faces gold rush exit after water license rejection. Is this the end of Duncan Creek in the high-stakes world of Discovery Channel's Gold Rush feud? Stories have been as compelling or as turbulent as that of Rick Ness, from humble beginnings as a rookie under Parker Schnabel to establishing himself as a formidable mind boss. Ness's journey has been anything but easy, and now, just as he seemed poised to finally cement his legacy, a devastating blow from the Yukon Water Board threatens to end his gold mining career altogether as of 2025. Rick Ness is facing one of the most difficult crossroads his life, and fans are left wondering, is this the final chapter for Rick Ness on Gold Rush? From rock bottom to redemption, Rick Ness's path to gold mining stardom has never followed the beaten track. When he first appeared on Gold Rush, he was an underdog, a former musician with no mining background who worked his way up from Parker Schnabel's team. Eventually, he struck out on his own, leading his own crew into the unforgiving Yukon wilderness. But mining isn't just about machinery and manpower. Behind the scenes lies immense emotional pressure, financial strain, and the brutal weight of being both boss and performer in front of millions of viewers. In 2022, Rick took a well-publicized hiatus from the show, openly sharing that he was struggling with depression and needed time away from the grind. That honesty earned him widespread respect and support from fans, many of whom related to his battle with mental health. When he returned in season 14, the Rick Ness stepped back into the spotlight wasn't just looking to dig gold, he was chasing something deeper: redemption, building a dream, and paying the price. Throughout his mining career, Rick had worked on lease land or borrow claims, unlike Parker Schnabel and Tony Beats, who both owned their mining sites for years. This limitation haunted Rick. Without land ownership, he was at the mercy of other claim owners, bound by tight contracts, uncertain futures, and constant negotiations. But after 5 long years of sweat, setback, and sacrifice, Rick finally achieved what many miners only dream of. In season 15, he made his final payment, 250 ounces of gold, to buy the Duncan Creek claim outright from its previous owner, Troy Taylor. That moment wasn't just a financial transaction, it was a culmination of years of work, resilience, and perseverance. With Duncan Creek under his name, Rick was no longer just a crew leader, he was a Yukon landowner. It was a monumental achievement, one that marked a turning point in his career and gave him control over his own future, or so it seemed. Water license denied, a crushing setback. Mining in a Yukon is more than just owning land and hauling per. In fact, one of the most critical and complicated aspects of running a legal mining operation is water management. To legally divert water for slewing and processing, miners must secure a valid water license from the Yukon Water Board. Knowing this, Rick submitted a detailed proposal for a new water license ahead of the 2025 mining season. He wasn't just applying for routine approval, he planned a major expansion that involved managing nearly 200 separate mining grants across the Duncan Creek claim. Unfortunately, the Yukon Water Board rejected his application. According to the board, Rick's plan was too ambitious for the limited operating season. They found his proposed reclamation efforts unrealistic and expressed doubt about whether such a large-scale operation could be completed within the necessary timeframe. With the current license set to expire on April 8, 2025, Rick finds himself in an impossible position. Without that water license, he legally cannot mine Duncan Creek at a scale that would make it viable. In other words, the very land he fought so hard to own might become nothing more than a golden cage, rich in potential, but utterly useless without permission to operate. The weight of the world. This devastating rejection isn't happening in isolation. Rick is already dealing with a rough season plagued by equipment failures, severe weather, and the financial burden of buying the Duncan Creek claim now. Without the ability to mine all those sacrifices, even more concerning is the mental and emotional toll this latest setback may take. Rick has never hidden his struggles with depression, and the crushing pressure of leadership as fans. No, mining is not just a career for Rick, it's his personal redemption arc, a way to prove to himself in the world that he can overcome anything, but everyone has a breaking point. The bigger picture gold rush meets red tape Rick. Ness's predicament also underscores a larger systemic issue in the gold mining industry, the increasing complexity of regulations. The Yukon Water Board's job is to protect the environment, balancing ecological concerns with economic opportunity, but that also means navigating red tape and bureaucracy that even veteran miners like Tony Beats and Parker Schnabel struggle with. For newer mind bosses like Rick, who are still building infrastructure and experience, these challenges are amplified. Even with land ownership without water access, the claim is worthless for mining. This regulatory reality isn't often shown on TV, but it's very real for the miners who live it every day. Fan support and unfinished business through it all. Rick Ness has remained one of the most relatable figures on Gold Rush. He doesn't come from mining royalty. He doesn't command a massive fleet of machines or a $1 million crew. What he brings is raw determination, vulnerability, and a willingness to lay it all on the line. His openness about mental health has broken barriers in an industry often defined by tough it out attitudes. Rick's journey resonates with viewers because it mirrors the struggles of ordinary people trying to build something against the odds. Many fans feel emotionally invested in his journey, not just because they want to see him succeed, but because Rick represents hope that heart, not just capital, can still win the day. The looming question now is, what's next for Rick Ness? There are still options. He can revise his proposal, work with the Yukon Water Board, and resubmit a more feasible plan. The timeline is tight, but not impossible. He has the experience, he has the land, and he certainly has the will. Alternatively, if the license issue can't be resolved, Rick may be forced to walk away, not by failure or lack of effort, but by a system that doesn't give second chances easily. And if that happens, it could mark the end of his journey on Gold Rush. But anyone who knows Rick Ness knows one thing for certain: he doesn't quit without a fight. Regardless of what happens next, Rick Ness has already achieved more than anyone could predict. When he first appeared on Gold Rush years ago, he transformed from a green horn into a respected mind boss, bought his own land, overcame personal demons, and won the hearts of fans around the world. Now, with Duncan Creek hanging in the balance, Rick stands at a critical juncture. The next few months will determine whether he continues mining or steps back from the show entirely. But whatever the outcome, Rick Ness's journey will remain one of the most unforgettable and inspiring stories in Gold Rush history. Whether he finds a way forward or not, Rick has already struck gold in the hearts of those who followed his story, and sometimes that's the richest treasure of all.